Hi guys, and welcome to Samsung Now. Samsung Now is where we look at all things Samsung, we look at tech, and we discuss, do reviews, do how-tos, anything that's kind of helpful to you guys and maybe interesting to you guys too. So don't forget to subscribe. Tuesdays are where I have a bit of a rant, a bit of a moan about things. And this last weekend we've had E3, and just what is wrong with Microsoft and Sony? We've not had Nintendo yet. That's today on Tuesday, but that's probably not going to be too exciting. Let's talk about Microsoft first of all. They built up this whole thing with Scorpio, which was the Xbox One X. Too many X's and S's. It's difficult to say. There's just so many confusing things about the Xbox One X, the Scorpio. I'm still going to probably call it Scorpio. They kind of built up so much hype about it that when they released the actual console, it was underwhelming, because we've all seen the dev kits, which look fantastic, and then we see this grey box that looks like a PS2 that's been shaved down a bit and then stuffed with some gadgetry and sort of a new GPU and God knows what else. It's very underwhelming in terms of looks. Yes, they go into a cabinet and never seen again in many regards, but you still want it to look cool, not like some, crappy PS2 that's, smoothed down a bit. And the other thing that really I just do not understand, Microsoft could have really made a real statement here. They could have really made the Scorpio, the Xbox One X, stand out, and it's almost as though they've just not learned any of their lessons from previous E3s, from their previous announcements that they've made over the years that they've kind of screwed up. You would have thought that they would have learned from when they announced the Xbox One, and they just haven't. They just really haven't. I do not understand how and why they've made such a lackluster console and it's all about the games. Everyone knows it's about the games, and if you haven't got the games, no matter what the console is, it's not going to work. And they just haven't got the games. They just showed off Forza, which everyone knows. I can't remember the other one, but it was probably incredibly underwhelming. But there was just a ton of crap, and it was difficult to even know what was, primarily for the Xbox One X, and we find out all it is a bit like the PS Pro, where, it's the same game, but they're just a bit more enhanced. So it's not really anything huge. You have to excuse the tractor that's about to go past. There it goes. Yeah, so I just don't get what Microsoft are trying to do. And the price point. In the US, it's $499, $500 without a game, just a console, a controller. And yes, you can use all your old games, but just keep the Xbox One S if you got one, or the Xbox One. I can't understand how they can warrant people needing to spend twice as much for that. I do not understand that. $399 would have been a more sensible approach, but $499. In the UK, it's £449. By the time you bought a game, it's £500. £500 basically to play Forza. No one is going to do that. I don't understand their logic behind it. And Sony, and I really don't understand Sony. They could have made a real clear announcement and said, we're going to drop the price of the PS Pro to $299. This is the machine to get. And I think people would clamour to it, because Sony have, the games, the catalogue, the user base, and yet they still didn't see that as an opportunity to sort of have a dig at Microsoft in terms of their price, because I think consumers would really go for the PS Pro at that price point, considering what they see the Xbox One X, so confusing, such a silly name, and consumers would just see, well, what's the difference? They're both 4K. People don't understand what checkerboarding is and what true 4K is. And when you see it on a screen like the one behind me, you don't really notice much difference. You know, things are going on so quickly, you're not really looking at it, you know, in such detail and then thinking, that's just checkerboarding. I'm not going to have that. I'm going to spend £200 more, so it's not checkerboarding. You know, it's just, I do not understand the logic. Sony dropped the ball in terms of their lackluster E3, just a whole bunch of games. The only decent game they showed was maybe God of War and Days Gone, which were the ones we knew about. But where the hell was The Last of Us 2? Everyone, I was so looking forward to seeing more about The Last of Us 2. It's meant to be coming out later this year. Where the hell was it? Where was it? Do not understand that. Do not. They're probably one of the biggest games Sony has ever done, and they don't even mention it. It's not even worth a mention. And then they show some really sort of VR games. You know, still nothing really there. Still nothing to prove that you're being dragged into. They show some crappy slashy, burny stuff with some wizard crap. You know, really, just what the awful E3. So looking forward to it. Turns out to be just a real crap E3. Microsoft dropped the ball with the Xbox One X. Of course, all the Microsoft fanboys are going to be like, oh, it's so much more powerful. Yeah, are you going to spend £500 so you can play Forza? Really? You know, I can't see people wanting to do that. I can't see parents wanting to push that kind of money towards that kind of thing. You know, and Sony, they dropped the ball with their content on their E3. It was just such a boring E3. Such a boring press conference from Sony. It was just like, just watching a load of trailers. Nothing really discussed. You know, what the hell went on at all that? I really do not know. So let me know what your gripe is about E3, what you were looking forward to that didn't happen. You know, are you going to get an Xbox One X? Are you going to get a PS Pro? Are you just going to stick with what you got? Do you like what Microsoft and Sony have done with 4K? What do you think about the VR future with Sony? What do you think about the fact that Microsoft didn't even announce anything to do with VR? You know, and even they had on the YouTube 4K webcast thing they did of the E3 for Microsoft. They had Major Nelson and the tech guy who designed the Microsoft One X, Xbox One X on after, and the guy doing the interview, I can't remember his name, was mentioned about VR, and they sort of really went, yeah, it can do it, possibly, yeah, potentially, yeah, but they're really tight-lipped. I just do not understand what the hell is going on. So can it do VR? Does it do VR? Will it do VR? Who knows? So yeah, just an awful E3. What do you think? What do you think? Subscribe, tell me stuff, let me know. I want to know, because surely it just can't be me that thinks this. Okay guys, have a great Tuesday. I will see you later in the week with more stuff. I've got some news about, you know, some ideas what I might have with changes and what have you. So keep subscribed. Don't forget to comment, and I'll see you later in the week. Cheers, bye.